Hey everybody, Dex on Dubsky. Welcome back to a brand new channel upload, and wow! The response I got on that last video was absolutely incredible. I never in a million years thought that a video that I uploaded, that I edited and put together and all that other stuff would have the kind of explosive response that it had. 2.3k views, 15 new subscribers, and 93 likes with a whole bunch of comments. That might not sound like a whole lot to somebody who maybe has a channel with over 10k subs or even 100,000 subs. You know, it's still relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but considering the fact that I've had this channel for 7 years at this point. I made this channel back in 2015, believe it or not, and I still have all of those old videos that you can go back and look at. I'm not particularly thrilled with them. It's kind of embarrassing to go back and listen to how you used to sound and stuff, but nonetheless, I've had this channel for such a long time, and I just used it as something to watch videos on, to subscribe to channels, to watch creators and all this other stuff, and maybe upload a video every now and again. It would get maybe a few dozen views at best. I think I've had a couple in there that I've gotten over like 100 to 200. That how to download Halo Infinite video onto your Xbox that I did back in November, that got up to like 1.5. But in terms of the comments, of the like to dislike ratio, the views I've gotten, everything like that, this last video that I did, it just absolutely popped off. So for those of you guys that subscribed, for returning viewers, for those of you guys that decided to invest in me and listen to what I had to say, listen to my opinion, my take on things, even if you don't agree with it, I have nothing but gratitude to give you guys. There is nothing more I can say, just thank you so much. Looking at the comments and reading everything, I'm just amazed that people are talking about my video the way they are. So that was awesome. Thank you guys for that. I kind of wanted to do a follow-up video just to kind of recap what I talked about, because, like, for me personally, the way that video was put together, I turned it into the best version of itself that I could, but it was ripped from a Twitch stream that I did on my console. There wasn't really a whole lot that I could do with regards to changing what I talked about and everything. Best case scenario, I could just clean it up a little bit, and I made it sound a lot more consistent in terms of my speech and the ideas I was talking about and everything like that. So kind of what I want to accomplish with this video, it's twofold. First of all, I want to be able to give a recap, a more clear and concise recap of everything that I went over in that video, just to sum it up and make it a little easier to understand from my perspective. And I also kind of want to talk about why it is that I still have hope for Halo Infinite. So as kind of a quick recap, in my previous video, kind of the central idea that I was talking about through the whole thing was I'm still optimistic for the future, but in order for Microsoft in 343 to turn Halo Infinite into the product that it needs to be in order to be successful, or in worst case scenario, recover the reputation that they lost after mishandling Halo Infinite for so many years, they need to A, own up to their mistakes, they need to own up to the fact that they shoved the shit out way too early, and because of that, it put them into a really, really tight situation. Now that people are mad at them and everything like that, it's a PR nightmare. They need to make good on the promises they made. They gotta get Forge out the door, they gotta be able to get the new season out the door, even if it's going to take until March to do that, and they need to stick with the game for as long as it's going to take for people to gain faith back in Halo Infinite and to regain the trust of their most loyal fan base. Because Halo Infinite, it's at a really, really bad spot right now, especially after that quote-unquote world premiere that they did, where they revealed a Forge remake of a Halo 3 map for Halo 3's 15-year anniversary. It probably would have been received a lot better if they had just not said anything and let it come out as like a surprise launch with Halo Infinite's winter update or whatever it is, because it's not going to be ready to play at least until this November. Them making a big deal out of it, they kind of went full on No Man's Sky with it, just hyped everybody up, and then just put it out there, said, surprise, here it is, this is what you get. kind of pissed a lot of people off. What I basically said in that video, kind of the underlying message, was they need to clean up the mess that they made, right? They need to be able to get their shit together. They gotta get as many people working on the game as possible to get it to a state where it is healthy. They can do a soft reset if they need to, but they gotta get Forge out, they gotta get the campaign co-op going, they gotta get that custom games browser out as soon as possible, and they can revive the game. It is possible. I have hope, and I'm very optimistic for the future of Halo Infinite. A lot of people don't really. They think the game is dead, they don't think there's really any way that it can recover, but I disagree. We've seen it happen before. The Master Chief Collection did it, No Man's Sky did it, you know what I mean? These games that started off as really mediocre products that were released incomplete and all of this other stuff, they eventually got updated to the point where they could be called complete games, and they're still supported by their devs to this day. Master Chief Collection is one of them, No Man's Sky is another one of them, they're still doing huge updates. Sea of Thieves, you know, there's a lot of examples of these games out there where they launched in really, really terrible states, but then even if it took years, the developers continue to support them. It's okay to like a game and be happy that you get to finally play it without forgiving the developers for screwing up in the first place. Microsoft and 343, I really don't think they're going to be able to live down that launch. It's not going to happen. I mean, they've garnered too much of a reputation for basically lying to their fan base at this point, but at the very, very least, they can walk back a lot of the damage that they did, and they can pump out an amazing game that people will be happy with, you know, even though they might not be favored by the players of their game, you know, it'll still be a good product and people will still like the game itself. You know, that's how it was with the Master Chief Collection. We weren't happy when the game launched in a shitty-ass condition and we had to wait 110 days to actually play the game the way it was intended to, but it's still a fun and enjoyable experience today. Somewhat ironically, the last time I checked, it has more concurrent players on Steam right now than Halo Infinite does. You take an 8-year-old game that's doing better than a game that's less than a year old that's also free to play. You know what I'm saying? So they can walk back a lot of that damage, and I know a lot of people don't believe it, and that's okay too, that's understandable. It is possible. And that's why I have so much hope for Halo Infinite's future. You know, they gotta release Forge, they gotta get campaign co-op out the door, they gotta be able to get that custom games browser out, like a consistent seasonal content structure with new battle passes and maps and game modes and all this other stuff. Once they get all of that under their belt, the game will be in a much better state. It kind of feels hopeless looking at Halo Infinite's future right now. It's very easy to fall into this pessimistic state of hating the game, believing that they're just gonna abandon it for another, which is understandable. I watched a video from Sean Dubs talking about it. I don't agree with it, but at the same time, I understand why that sentiment is there in the first place. What it comes down to is Halo Infinite's not in a great state right now, to put it lightly. It's actually in a very disastrous state, but it is going to get better. They are going to get their seasonal content structure under control, at least I hope they will, and once they do, it will recover. I don't think it's going to recover to 20 million, but it's still going to be a lot better than it is right now. Plus, you have Certain Affinity working on their BR and everything like that, so bottom line, the message I'm trying to put out there with this video is there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful for Halo Infinite's future. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it feels like the game is going down a bad path, its future could not be brighter. As the old saying goes, when you hit rock bottom, the only real way you can go is up. And that's something that everyone should be excited about.